Hello, Jim.
Hello,
You're
Jim.
muted. Jim, you're muted, so we can't hear you right now.
Okay. Skip? Yeah.
Skip was muted as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There he is.
All
There he
right.
is.
Yeah, you got a list of the attendees here?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay. Okay, the boss just came back.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, who the hell is Liddy?
It was, Liddy was leaving and then the neighbor brought your sign back because it got blown away.
Oh, my back to blue, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
All right, yes.
Where's
There's
Judith?
Ken Wills.
Wow, look at everybody that's joining.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Ken.
Ken,
Yeah,
you're muted.
things we hadn't
Not
started.
Ken, that's Judith.
Okay, I
Ken, you're
guess we'll
muted.
just,
Um,
I'm sorry, what, am I muted?
Ken is not Aldridge.
Oh, okay.
Ken Will is
Ken
muted.
Wills and Jim Myers, it looks like is all,
He's
or
muted also. Yeah.
maybe they'll get with the program here. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway, officer reports, nothing from the president, so we can move on to the treasurer.
Okay, we have just under 16,000. I have deposited all checks. All Skip, all the dues have been deposited.
Well, unfortunately, I've got one more for you. And I meant to put it in the mail today, but I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay,
No
no problem.
problem. Okay, I guess secretary report.
I have submitted to Peter the list of dropped members, and it's 6 or 7. We have an application from Christine Mays. So that will bring our total back up to 89 or 90. I forget now which exactly it is. There's maybe 4 members that have indicated they intend to renew, but have not yet gotten around to sending me their dues. But since there's a fair amount of overhead in dropping them and putting them back in, I'm just carrying them for a little while.
Yeah.
So how many paid up members do we have now?
Well, I don't, 83, 84, 85, something like that.
You told me 89
What,
plus
well,
the new application.
that includes the, like I say, the 3, 4, 5 members who haven't paid, but said they would. And eventually I'll nab them at a meeting, or they'll get around to it, or I'll eventually drop them.
Okay. Let me see here, committee reports, stamp sales, Skip.
Well, there have been some albums donated to the club. And the original intention was to put them in the silent auction, but they are so voluminous that I have loaned them to Dave Stockbridge. And he's been purchasing stamps out of them for 20% of catalog. And so far, we're up to about $200, which will be assigned to the silent auction. And plus the fact that in January, I guess, there were a couple of members I have gotten some stamps to, and they purchased some things. So even though we haven't had any in-person meetings, stamp sales, I've got about $50 in stamp sales.
Okay.
Great. Okay, Ralph, Expo.
Well, we we held our expo meeting and setting aside the Zoom bombing, we decided on a theme, which would be Western wear or cowboy theme, in honor of the Western wear stamp that comes out later this year. we have a number of places that we're going to need to fill. I'm calling around to certain people to reconfirm that they're willing and able and or to twist a few arms so that we can get all of our volunteers in place that we need. We have another meeting coming up in April, and hopefully we can get good attendance at that for our planning. Judy, I need to get with you to get a check to the convention center.
I was
They
gonna
sent
ask
me
you
the
if they sent you-
contract.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if they sent you the contract.
They sent me the contract and basically honored kind of pretty much previous rates that we're used to paying. So,
Well, if you want, just mail us the contracts and we'll go up with the check.
okay.
Stan, have you talked to John Smith?
You Stan? No, I don't think Stan or I have actually
Okay.
talked to John.
No, I talked to Rusty.
Yeah.
Rusty's the guy in charge of the whole convention center.
Yes. Top
Oh.
dog.
Top dog.
Oh,
So I
okay.
can presume that November 12th and 13th are the locked-in dates now?
Yeah, Rusty went
Yes.
ahead and locked him down when I talked with him last week. So.
Okay, because I want to be able to make sure that, I give judges a firm date so they can plan around it if they're interested.
Yep.
Did you happen to mention the overnight security, Stan?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Tell you what, when I take the contracts back up there, I will.
yeah, I'm sure we're okay, but it doesn't hurt just to,
That's right.
Right. So that's all I have, Stan. Thanks.
Well, since we got Jim and we got Evan and we got Rick, we can actually talk about the webpage.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys did an awesome job.
Have you seen the test site, Judy?
Yes.
Yes, I have. I mean,
I sent everybody on the board the test site location and asked
So-
them to log on and take a look.
And Evan, I responded saying I thought it was brilliant. I don't know if you got that message. It might only have gone to the directors, but I congratulate you on what you've done here.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of the content work was done by Jim, and I think my team did the layout work. But I think Jim and I had a meeting this past Friday, and so we just wanted your blessings to see if we can go live with it.
yes, yes.
I sent some updates to Rick, should be in his inbox for when you go live for the expo page.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to be in the 21st century.
It definitely looks a lot better. Jim, you're still muted. So,
We get your comments.
I think there was concern about the contact on there, and
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that the contact person that's listed we'll get an email or something from that. I guess that can be handled, right, Evan?
So right now, Jim and I talked about there's a couple of ways we can do this. One is the contact form. I can send it out to multiple people. So I can say, hey, send it to Rick at, Ralph at, Judy at, whatever I want, right? The other option is we can have separate forms for, Jim was thinking maybe, hey, if you want accounting or if you want membership, if you want expo ad. But that creates complications. I think we start with one form. That was my suggestion. And then we can, if need be, I can create separate forms and just send them to the proper email addresses. Up to you guys.
Right, on the current website, it's just a link to info@midcitystamphub.com, which I currently receive. So depending on what it is, if it's membership related, I'll just forward it to Skip. If it's somebody that says, hey, I inherited a bunch of stamps from my grandfather, that kind of thing, then I'll try to answer it and push them to a TSDA meeting or a club meeting or the show, whatever is relevant, I'll answer it or I'll pass it on if it's not my department.
So the challenge with the way you have it right now, Peter, is if you have a email address on the website, you get a lot of spam, like.
Oh, yes, I do. You wouldn't believe how much I get.
Yeah. So what we do is we never publish the email address on the website. We put a contact form and let them fill that out, and we can do the spam filtering on the contact form so you don't get as many spam.
Oh, that's great.
I can assure you that's gonna eliminate all your spam. And if you see any spam coming in through the contact form, you just create a ticket, or Jim can create a ticket, and my guys can put a little security script capture.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Well,
There
I
you
mean, a
go.
lot of people do
Yes.
that too. I had a website with a form that then emails me, and people just fill it out and put a bunch of, garbage in there and ads and spam and whatnot. You can't avoid that.
We can. There's a lot of spam filters you can put on and
Yeah.
minimize that as much as you can.
Okay, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Jim.
Okay. When Evan and I met, what I told him was the roadblock right now is we need to get a formal board vote to approve going forward with this.
Okay.
Once that's done, then we can have a short test period, and then we can go live. And as I understand it from Evan, he has some people who can provide some really nice visual enhancements to the site. And so they will do that soon after we go live.
Okay.
Is that right, Evan?
Jim, I sent out to the board of directors an invitation to log on. Evan gave me the website and permission to go ahead and have the board of directors log on and take a look at it. So I sent an email out to the board asking them to do that, and they apparently have done that quite a few of them now.
Yeah, but and there were some questions then that have since been resolved.
I mean,
Okay.
there's still going to be some small things, small changes we need to make, some updates we need to make. But as far as I'm concerned, I think we need to go live with this thing.
Well, the thing, what I was hoping for was to get a review, not just by the board, I mean, that's necessary, but also by the entire membership.
Yeah.
And get their feedback, and then we can get people used to looking at the website maybe.
Well, I'm not sure.
I personally don't
be
think
a
that
focal
the whole
point.
membership, I don't think the whole membership needs to approve it. I think the board of directors is in the role that it should be to say
No, it
they can
wasn't,
make a decision, but by all means, encourage everybody to take a look at it and give feedback. And some of that feedback might be suggestions that you want to incorporate.
no, the approval I was talking about is supposed to come from the board, but I was also talking about just getting feedback and criticism from the general membership.
Okay.
We're going to get that anyway. No matter
But
what.
if we get it all up front, then we can, make the
We'll
corrections
deal with it.
fairly soon.
Well, I'll call Richard and tell him to send out email to the board saying yay or nay, and so that we'll have it on record that, yes, we're going to go forward.
Okay, well, I sent Rich an email again this afternoon, and I mentioned that. So yeah, if you'll follow up, that would be great.
Hound him enough, maybe we'll get him to respond.
So once we get a formal approval by the board, how long will it take to go live?
Generally, it depends on the domain, who owns the domain. Jim and I talked about, there's a gentleman that has ownership or the account. All it is just a record change. So meaning it's called an A record for the domain. It's got to point to my server and it's live, right? I mean, it takes about an hour or so to propagate. So I don't expect that to take too long. We just need to make sure that we have the proper, meaning the access to the domain registrar. If we have that, we're good to go. And I think Peter probably, not Peter, I'm sorry, Jim probably has that access already.
Okay.
Is that person who owns a domain, are they a member of our club?
I don't believe that he was a member of the club, but he was an acquaintance of a previous president of the club. That was way back when.
Appointed to handle the domain or take over the domain, or I don't know, but it seems confusing to me because if we got this no-name person and I wasn't sure just how that all came about.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's one
somebody's been
reason-
footing the bill.
that's one reason I've been asking to get board approval for this, so nobody asks a few years down the road, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And
We're
the
still
way
not
we
gonna
got
do
here this time was this fellow, Stephen Turner, was a friend of, I can't remember the fellow's name, but
Bill
maybe
Bradshaw.
Bob.
He was a friend of
Art
Bill
von Rhine,
Bradshaw.
probably.
Who?
Bill
Art
Bradshaw.
von Rhine.
No, at the same time that Art was here, though.
It was Bill
Oh.
Bradshaw. He was a friend of
Bradshaw,
Bill's.
I think it was Bradshaw, yeah.
Okay.
So let me just tell
So
you
who's
about
actually been paying for everything?
Well, he has not charged us for the hosting, for, I don't know how long, last 12 or 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen
And and the domain registration as well, right? Not just the hosting.
Well, I've been paying for the domain registration. That's just kind of like a contribution to the club.
So that's
Oh,
all you need, Peter. Jim, you don't need to pay the hosting. I got that covered. And there was a misunderstanding. Rick, I think we clarified that already.
Right.
For some reason, I don't know why I was thinking 99 gigabyte instead of 90 megabytes instead of gigabytes. And so you don't have to worry about the hosting. That's going to be hosted on my side. But the domain name, Jim, you've been paying it. It should be, at some point, we need to take the ownership of the domain name into the club's account. So we can just create a GoDaddy or whatever account under this club, and the domain name can be transferred over. It's just literally, hey, I request a transfer. They accept the transfer. Now this domain name, username and password, GoDaddy, and it should be with somebody in the club that secures that username and password. That's all we need.
Well, the last is statement that I had printed out did show the club as the owner. Now it had, I think Turner was listed as the administrative contact or something like that.
Got it. So meaning it is in its own account, right, Jim? Meaning if the club wants to log in, we have access to log in, or do we have to go through Turner?
I'm sorry, to log into which?
To log into the domain registrar, meaning can you go in there and make changes to the records of that domain?
I can't presently. I think he talked at one time about giving me that capability, but I didn't follow up on that.
What I would say that's right. What I would say is that's all you need if you have access to it. And then you can have, who knows, 3 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road, 10 years down the road, if you want to switch hosting companies, different server, if you have access to it, you can just do it just like that. That's all.
Okay.
Evan, there's about 900 megabytes of files that
That's
make
fine.
up the newsletter.
Which is less than a gig. I was thinking 900 gig for some reason. I
No.
forget what
No,
that was a mistake on my end for understanding the wrong way. But yeah, the 900 megabytes is less than a gig. If you have a gig, 2 gigs, it's literally, I got AWS. I'm paying $4,000 a month on my server spaces. I got plenty of spaces for that. Don't worry about that. I got that covered.
I think actually all of our documents together, history of the club and all of that stuff, it's about 1.5 gigabytes.
Yeah.
But,
excuse me, one thing that Evan and I did talk about was the email capabilities. And Evan was saying that he pays $6 a month per address. And in return, the provider eliminates the spam and junk mail. Now, I don't know if you wanted to buy one address or not even fool with it.
Well,
But,
Jim, keep in mind what I said was I don't manage email addresses. So what I use Google Suite for my company email addresses. And if you guys used Google Suite, since I am familiar with it, I can support you guys if you get stuck on something, right? But aside from that, if you guys have an email provider, email hosting company, if they're taking care of that, I prefer they continue to maintain that.
Well, I don't know how it works because the 3 email addresses that are in use, which are info@, editor@, and news@, are through whatever that online system was that I forgot created those at.
cPanel?
Yeah, cPanel. I mean, I haven't been in there in years. All I know is whatever's there works. Now, in transferring stuff over, will that change or get rid of those email addresses?
It may not if you keep the hosting. So there's, you may or may not care about this. So in a domain registrar, it's called a record. So it points to the HTTPD, meaning where is the website's going to be hosted. And then there is this MX records where the email is going to be hosted, right? So right now there's a MX record that's pointing to your current, what do you call it? The cPanel, whatever you have, right? So I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to point the hosting the website part of it to my server.
Oh, okay.
So email is going to stay as is, as long as the current provider, he's probably keeping up with that, as long as they continue to keep up with that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because all I know is that I set up my emails to pick them up via Windows Live Mail, actually, as a POP account, and
Yeah.
manage it that way, and it works. So
That's fine.
I haven't touched it in probably 10 years.
Okay, so as long as we point everything on our website to the correct email addresses, then everything should be fine and should keep running.
Again, make sure you have to keep your current email provider email service up and running, because that is also a part of the hosting. Meaning somebody's keeping those emails on a server somewhere. You just need to make sure that's in place.
All right, well, I think we had probably the best discussion on this that we've had in
In
years. But I do want to thank Evan and Jim and Rick for all their hard work, and Peter too, so. Okay.
So one more question, Stanley, on that. How soon can we get a vote from the board of directors on that?
Hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, Judy will contact Rick,
Yeah, and I'll talk to him,
Rich.
Richard, and I'll talk to him tonight after the meeting here and have him send out an email tomorrow. And so that we all can vote on it. So we should have an answer by the weekend.
Yeah,
I'd love to see this thing go live ASAP.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful website. It really is.
There'll still be a lot of cleanup work to do
There
once
will
we do
be,
go
I'm sure.
live.
Yeah.
In fact, there is now, but it's nothing it's nothing we can't do.
Yeah.
once we
Jim,
do go
Jim
live.
and Evan, I appreciate your work on that.
No
Thank you.
problem.
And
Yeah,
somebody
very much.
just has to
Appreciate it.
somebody just has to show me how and where to log in and upload the latest newsletters and all that. I mean, I do it on other sites like the one that I own myself, between the perfs.com, and it literally takes me like less than a minute to, upload it and make a link, and boom, done. That's it. So hopefully it's just as easy. I don't know what tool set you've got there, Evan, but
We'll make sure you can do it, Peter. Shouldn't be that
Okay.
difficult.
I saw a few typos and things like that. To whom should I send the corrections?
To me,
To you, Rick?
yeah.
Okay, will do.
I'll be running interference for these guys.
Great.
Okay. All right, well, let's see here. Do we have any other committee reports? Okay, I guess announcements. TSDA is holding a session in April. I believe it's the second weekend.
April 9th.
yeah, April
Eighth,
9th and 10th.
Yeah.
9th and 10th, is that it?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and try to give them some support. And they do take the gift certificates. So if you've got a stack of gift certificates, the dealers are supposed to have agreed to take them. Okay.
So, Stan,
Huh?
the show's going to be at a new location too.
Yes, right.
Okay, so everybody's aware. It's just a few blocks away from the old location.
Okay. Okay, show and tell. Rick?
Yeah, I got something I can show everybody, I guess. Let me get rid of this background that I've got here, because that kind of tends to do away with everything. I've got the world's tallest stamp. and it's
What?
a tree.
Is it a souvenir sheet or is it an actual stamp?
It's an
I can't
actual
tell.
stamp. Yeah, it's an actual stamp from Malaysia.
The whole thing?
Just this, well, I'm on the wrong side here. This part right here,
Oh, okay.
just where the tree is, the tall tree.
Wow, that's a big stamp.
It was
It is
that
a
big
big-
envelopes over there.
That's what my show and tell is.
Well, that was
Okay.
cool.
I like unusual things, so, you know.
Judy and I don't have any, so Peter?
Well, I got one or two little things. I'll see if I can make it. This one I have to do visually. This is let me see how close. All right, well, they can kind of tell. Okay, so this is a round embroidered stamp with some really fine embroidery. I mean, the letters Fürstentum Liechtenstein are made of individual threads inside the two green circles. It's pretty ornate. I bought that from Liechtenstein. I may have used it or will use it if I haven't already for some been there, done that article about being green or something, which is what this stamp's about. It is actually a stamp. If you look on the back, it's got a little self-adhesive circle you can do. The only thing is it would make this all rather floppy on the envelope, so I wouldn't trust the U.S. automated postal system to handle anything with this on it nicely. And it is actually, if you look closely enough, it is a 6.3 euro value, so that's like $7 face value. I guess it covers a registered letter or so. For the rest here, I'll have. Oh, can you enable screen sharing, Rick?
Let's see here.
The rest I got online.
Peter, before you leave that, I've got a question for you. I receive occasionally a parcel from New Zealand, and the sender gets it cancelled at the post office and then covers it with clear foil. Are we allowed to do that with stamps in this country?
I guess once it's canceled, you probably can, but I've never seen it in the postal service. The thing is that foil, the film might create snagging problems in the equipment if a little bit of it comes loose and then gets snagged up somehow. So I don't know how the postal. Now I think if you put a canceled envelope inside another envelope with a clear cover on it, then that might work. But
Yeah.
on a package, I don't know.
Yes.
Launch in a few seconds. If not, please click the button.
I don't want to launch it. It's already on there.
I know, well, minimize.
See if you can click on this little dark area over here.
Okay, I guess I'll have to make this smaller.
There.
Well, I was going to, again, inspiration for my been there, done that. So if you can see this to the right here over the panels is this building here is what I visited in 1991. And actually here's the ticket stub to it. And guess what? It's in one of my favorite cities, in Trier, which is
No.
beautiful little town, should be on everybody's bucket list. But this is the Karl Marx house, I guess. If I remember correctly, this is where he was born or lived or whatever way back. So that would be this fellow right here, and I guess this huge stamp from the Russia also showed the name of the famous book that he wrote, Das Kapital. So I'll have to reread up on this stuff. I mean, this was 91, so I don't really remember too much from that, but I'll have to get some of the historical stuff there. There's another stamp showing Karl Marx. I actually bought a mint version of it from somebody. Not to be confused with Groucho Marx, but I don't know, for comic relief, one could put that into an article. I was trying to remember, where is it here? And, well, you can already see I took the screenshot for tonight's meeting here, and I'll put that into the newsletter probably. But again, I always have kind of fun with been there, done that. And this next article, one of them will be about what I call the postmark vacation. So this little out area of the map of Switzerland up here is the big green map here. And I remember in 1979, when I was hiking there with my parents, at every little post office I stopped, I ended up getting a postmark on a little notepad that I had with me. A lot of them were the basic ones like you see here, this basic round daters, but other villages had a really nice pictorial one. And part of in Switzerland, you can get a postmark that's not necessarily on a philatelic item, but you get it on a Swiss Postal Service bus ticket, like this yellow one that you see here.
We're
which
not
we,
seeing here. We're not
not
seeing
seeing it.
those.
Oh, you're not seeing it? Okay, do I have to reshare this, or how does this work? New share. Let me.
We still have Groucho on.
Okay.
Happy of all hail, Mark's
Okay, now do you
winning.
see it, or? Oh no. How
Yeah.
does this work?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, there we see it.
okay, now you see it. Okay, I'm not sure how to work when you got multiple screens. So back to this other one. So my vacation in 1979, which was my graduating high school year, was in Switzerland with my parents. And we went to this area that's in this little rectangle on the map, which on a Google map blows up to this. And we, during our hikes, during those 2-3 weeks, pretty much every day, every other day, we were ended up walking by a post office. So I had to quickly go in if they're not out to lunch or delivering mail. And I got the postmark from that town. Now, the main city we stayed in was Gstaad, like number 1 here. And on the second, this was on the 6th of June, 1979 at 15 hours. Later that day, we're actually at number 2 here, Gesteig by Gstaad, and, so on and so forth. And I have like 16 of these cancels, something like that, or 13 of them. One of them, I'm going to highlight them on the map. The trouble is I can't show all of these little villages on this map. You would literally have to make a small section of the map, fill the entire page to see that village show up from a Google map. So I'll just, point the circle at, wherever it is on the real map. But part of it in Switzerland is that it's not post office. Well, it's not philatelic. If you buy a bus ticket for a Swiss bus, like we did here on this yellow ticket, you get a postmark, right? Because you bought it behind the counter from a postal clerk. And this bus ride was from Grund near Gstaad to Gstaad, which if you happen to look at the map, Grund here is number 3 and Gstaad is number 1. Well, if you look at the scale down here, that's only like what, 2 miles? So, we took the bus, but, and it cost us $1.80 franc, which in 1979 was, I don't know what that was, like $1 maybe, something like that. But so this isn't philatelic necessarily, it is postal or post office history, depending on how you want to do it, because it's a bus ticket, but the Swiss Postal Service runs bus service. They deliver people and the mail. So it's always kind of interesting to, write about that kind of stuff. So.
Well, while we're on the subject of Switzerland, can I jump in with my show and tell?
Yes.
Sure. Let me see. New share, pause share. How do I stop the share? Stop share. Here it is. Okay.
Okay. Mine is I'm not sure if I can get this working properly. Where are we? This is a Swiss railway stamp. It's a used stamp, part of a set, and it's got the around the edges. It's got the federal state railways information in French and German and Italian, and what I'm curious about is that Belgium has a whole section of railway stamps with a prefix Q, and I wonder why Scott doesn't do that for Switzerland as well, with a Q series for their railway stamps.
Well, the Belgian stamps were used for parcels, right? Now, were the Swiss stamps used for parcels as well, or were they used as a revenue on a ticket, or what?
Well, they are postmarked, indicating that, well, I don't know, maybe it was a revenue usage. So I just happened to acquire these and I have no information about them.
I have a huge, like 2-inch thick set of Swiss revenue catalogs that I bought from someone, but I've never seen those either. So I'd have to probably go dig around. But the revenues are based on the cantons in Switzerland, and the Swiss Federal Railway is not cantonal. So I don't know anything about them either.
It's a federal thing, and it says the Federal State Railway of Switzerland.
Now, is it in the Zumstein catalogs or any of those, or?
Well, I don't have that, so I haven't been able to check.
Okay, I've got some older ones, I think, from the 70s. How old is that stamp, do you think? 40s, 50s, 30s?
I just have no idea.
All right, I'll see what I have in my pile of philatelic literature here and see if I can find anything on them.
I thought either you or John Barrett would know because you're both very heavily into Switzerland.
Well, only partially because I was born there, so only topics that relate to me generally, but
My other show and tell, though, is I was doing some soaking of stamps, and this is a relatively common New Zealand 1 penny Victorian stamp, which gets a single entry in Scott. Stanley Gibbons has a whole page full of all the variants of color and paper type and so forth. But when I soaked it off, I was quite delighted to find that on the back, this is something that, do I have that upright? I'm not sure. Let me just check that. There's no mention of this. Yeah, there we are. There's no mention of this in the Scott catalog, but Stanley Gibbons says that certain stamps occasionally are found with advertisements printed on the back. And I happened to get this one as I soaked it off. I've seen them on sale in auction catalogs, and they command quite a premium. But as I say, there's no mention of it in Scott.
Wow.
well, they must have printed the advertising before they gummed the stamp. Otherwise, if it's on top of the gum, it would wash off with the gum.
That is correct. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Skip?
Well, yes, and the thing I was working on some stamps from India when helping Sai with some of his interests in India stamps. And I sort of found the Scott catalog to be lacking in certain things. So I decided to go ahead and purchase a Stanley Gibbons catalog.
Oh, okay.
And this one is Commonwealth and British Empire, 1840 to 1970. So it doesn't have anything after 1970, but it has everything in between. And it's everything I hoped it would be. A lot of detail. I haven't quite gotten into it, but the one thing I notice is the printing is very small. I don't know what type it is. Like on the computer, it might be a 2 or something. But I'm going to have to definitely get some high-powered glasses to be able to read some of this stuff. Yes, that's it. Same thing.
I have an older version of that.
Okay, thanks, Skip. Ken?
Ken Aldridge.
Yes.
All right, baseball season's right around the corner. This you're looking at is a sheet of one of maybe a dozen of mini sheets that Granada put out in 1988, mostly 1988, some into early 1989. But it's interesting thing about this sheet is it has Pete Rose right there. And during that time, there was a big hullabaloo about Pete Rose and his gambling and all that kind of stuff. And he was actually managing at that time. But Granada didn't know anything about that. They printed this sheet and there was a hue and cry about it. And actually in '89, a few months later, he was ostracized from the game and it was an agreement that he had with the Major League Baseball. But Granada tried to pull all of these, rebuy all of these that were sent out. And that didn't go over very well. So then they wanted to issue one without Pete's picture, the very same sheet without Pete's picture, right there. Wow. And the International Collector Society, and I don't know anything about them, but they got their hands on several thousand of these sheets and made them available for sale. I saw an ad and I paid $9.95 for it. And would you believe how much that's worth now? $2.70.
Hell of an investment.
Good job.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, Scott?
I did not bring anything to share. I apologize.
No problem. Ralph?
I've got all kinds of stuff, but I haven't got my act together. I've been in
Okay.
meetings all day. Sorry.
No problem. Si?
Size muted.
Oh, Si, are you muted?
Yeah, I don't have anything for today, but I'll have something next month.
Okay, Evan?
I usually don't have anything. I'm just here to learn. So
Okay. Okay,
I've got a couple of things, Stan.
okay, Ken, do you have anything else?
No,
Okay, Jim?
Yeah, I have these things on a file here, but rather than try to fiddle with this laptop, I'm just going to hold them up. Some of you know that I have what I call a trash can collection, which consists of items that I have retrieved from the trash cans at our local post office. So I've got a few things here to show. Actually, the first one was something that was mailed to Madeline. So if I can get this up where it can be seen, this is ridiculous.
There
I
we
don't know
go.
if you can see it, but it was something that was sent by
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley. And the title on it is National Referendum on Socialism. And the thing that caught my eye was if you look at the reverse side, it's got a Venezuelan, what's this, 10 Bolivar note. And of course, she goes on, in talking about the evils of socialism, she points out that it takes like a wheelbarrow full of these things to buy a loaf of bread in Venezuela. Anyway, and there were probably a lot of these that were dumped in trash cans around the country. So anyway, it's an interesting item. Okay, now these really were retrieved from the trash, and these are postcards that were sent using the $1, was it Global Mail? Nuts. Let me just talk about it then. Okay, it's a postcard. It was sent to Peru, and on the back side, it has a yellow sticker that says mail service suspended. Return to sender. To request a postage refund, go to any USPS retail office. So whoever dumped these in the trash can, I've got a couple of them, could have, I presume, could have gotten $1 each for them if they'd taken them to.
A little problem with your audio there, Jim.
Yeah, Jim, you're garbled.
Video.
Get it from
Your
the,
video's frozen.
back side, you can,
well,
the
I think we're
outline
losing Jim there.
stamps.
Yeah, Jim, I think you're frozen.
Uh, Okay.
We're not being Zoom bombed, guys.
oh, there he is.
Okay.
Just a typical tech fail.
You're on mute
All right.
now.
I was going to say it was Nikki Haley that did it, but she didn't like what he said.
Jim, you're on mute.
I think he's frozen again.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Come on, Madeline, help him.
Your audio should work now, Jim. I guess
Hi.
you have an internet connection problem.
The files where I left the scans.
Yeah, we do.
It says interconnect. Unstable.
Yeah, the connection is unstable on this thing.
Well, I was
Okay.
gonna, while we're waiting here, this lovely picture of me actually is going to be a future article. And
Maybe we are getting
I'll let
Zoom bombed.
everybody guess. I'll let everybody guess to see where that took place. But actually, it took place right here. That picture was taken of me at Swarovski Crystal World in Austria back in like 1999 or 2000. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that in as something. See, I have fun with this. I'm going like, okay, a little bit of self-deprecation there, but you know, I was at Crystal World and he took the picture of me, and you know, there'll be a future been there, done that article. So
Oh, great.
I seem to keep coming up with this stuff. You know, I'm not even trying. You know, it's just there.
Okay, Rick,
Yes, sir.
do you have a video for us?
Well, depends on how long you guys want to look at a video.
A video, or you want to go ahead and just skip it?
I don't know. What do you guys want?
Maybe you can send the link because the video on the sharing screen is gonna be choppy, right?
Yes.
I need to pull out anyway, so I bid everybody good
Okay,
night.
let's just do a drawing.
Yeah, let's do the drawing.
Okay,
All right. Scott, would you give me the first number?
Do I have
Oh.
to pick between?
1 and 2? I mean,
One and two.
That's Stan and Judy. So
1 and 12.
Let's say 8.
8, okay. Ralph,
Oh,
Well,
wow.
Ralph.
Thanks. How about 7?
7 is Scott. Okay, you two.
We had it all worked out before the meeting started. Don't worry.
Scott, do we have your billing address?
Guess it should be in the new handbook, right?
Okay.
Skip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All
Well,
right.
I'm excited. I'm glad I showed up.
That means you're going to have to come to one of our meetings and redeem that certificate.
Or Expo, that'll work too.
Well, that's
Yes.
It's a good reason for me to get down your way. I like
There
it.
you go.
All right. So
Scott, you'll have to give another number.
Yep, you'll have to give another number.
I'll say, well, let's go with 11.
11. That's Jim.
hey, Jim,
Hey, hey,
Jim, will you give us the last number?
but what range?
1 to 12?
4.
4
Can you
is,
hear me? 4?
yeah, Peter.
Yay!
Hey.
all right,
All right.
TSDA money.
all right.
All right, we got our winners for this meeting. Okay.
Okay, now,
Thank
do
you.
we want to meet Zoom in April, or do we want to actually do a meeting?
I'm cool either way.
I too.
My office is open.
Okay, we're gonna have our shots, so
I got my shot.
Yeah,
we'll finish-
my shot is next. My shot is next Thursday, so not this week, but next one is for the second one. So
8 hours
for
on
what
Friday.
that's worth.
Why don't we just go ahead, and Evan, why don't we plan on meeting at the Euless?
Yeah, you, Skip, you have the keys.
As far as I know, I still have the key, but next, that would be in mid-April. Stanley, you were talking about Arlington,
No, Euless.
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 the Euless meeting in mid-April.
Yeah,
Okay, yes, I still have, well, I think I still have the key. It's buried in the bottom of the cash box.
We'll try to keep the office cleaned. So
all right, well, I want to thank everybody for attending the meeting, and I wish you the best for the rest of the month. And Granbury is going to be the the fourth Tuesday of this month.
Next
So
Tuesday.
tune in, and we'll see you guys. You take care now.
All right.
yeah.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you, Stanley, for running the meeting.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
You guys can stick around if you want.